everyone, and welcome again. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm absolutely excited. This is the first time we're going to have two amazing people here together with us to talk about their own expertise. And the topic for today is anxiety management. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to invite them. So first, we have with us Marina Dimchenko, who is a health and well-being expert and advocate. Welcome, Marina.
Hi, Kamil. Hi, thank you for having me.
And we have with us Donna Brown. Again, welcome again. Donna is a life coach living here in Dubai, and both of them are in Dubai. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kamil. Nice to meet you, Marina.
Likewise.
We're going to dive straight into the topic, anxiety management. Okay, so we're going to start first and foremost with Marina. If you don't mind sharing with us, especially the viewers, a bit about your background in terms of the health and well-being and what you do.
Yes, so my background is research and academic writing, but last couple of years I've been focusing on healthy living because I found that a lot of people misunderstand this concept and relate healthy living to food only and eating healthy stuff, mainly green and gross green stuff. Whereas healthy living is an integration of our emotional health and our physical health, and it encompasses a lot more, not only like emotional health in terms of relationships, but also emotional stability and the way we deal with challenges, the way we overcome them daily, and physical health, such as the effect of food that we eat on our body, on our well-being, as well as probably even our intimate life, and of course sleep, which we're going to focus on today.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for giving a bit of an insight in terms of the fantastic work that you do. Again, you mentioned sleep. So that's a big topic, especially with what we're dealing with right now and anxiety management. Can you give a bit of insight into why sleep is such an important aspect for us as human beings?
Yes, I'd love to, because sleep is so underrated, especially in our modern life. Even during this slowdown, somehow people still do not pay enough attention to sleep, because it has so many functions apart from just keeping us busy during nighttime. Because most people still think that we sleep because there's nothing else to do when it gets dark, whereas it has so many functions. It's even beyond just recharging our body. Sleep is a very complicated process when our body functions differently on a chemical level, when our short-term memory gets transferred into long-term memory, when our cells grow and regenerate. And what is even interesting, tumor cells, they grow twice as fast in cancer patients who are deprived of sleep. And if that is not enough to show how important it is, then I don't know what it is.
That's amazing. Obviously, there's a relationship between sleep and anxiety. But I just want to bring Donna into the conversation here. Donna, again, off the back of that discussion about sleep and anxiety. Now, again, as you know, a lot of people now are facing a lot of challenges, and one of them might be a career challenge. And you are a life coach, and you have a breadth and a wealth of knowledge, experience in terms of coaching people in situations that we're facing right now. So can you give us a bit of an insight or idea of the kind of stuff that people might face in terms of the career or in terms of financial aspect of their lives at the moment?
Thanks, Kamil. I mean, there's so many things going on at the moment, right? And in terms of really, if I should focus as a career coach and speak to really what many people are experiencing is, and we talked about anxiety, right? So you talk about anxiety for sleep. And so when you lose your job in a time like this, anxiety creeps in, fear creeps in, worry, anxiousness, all of these factors really builds and comes into what Marina is talking about, not being able to sleep, right? And so a loss of a I think, is the biggest one that is happening to many people in terms of their career. Yeah. And in the UAE, losing a job, as we all know, because we live here, there's a big impact on your life, right? Because your sponsor, which is your job, which is your employer, is the one who holds your visa. He's the one who holds your health care. Sometimes your home is tied to this, right? Sometimes something as small as your credit card, your mobile phone is linked to all of this security. So when you lose your job here in the UAE, there's a huge impact that occurs in your life. It is a time for many people right now where they're all, people that are impacted are rethinking what to do. One, we can't really travel. It's not a time for us to travel. So we are staying still in the UAE, and the government has made it really, they have extended themselves in saying that, the individuals that have lost their jobs and that are without visas, you can actually stay until the end of the year without renewing your visa. So that in itself has probably ended some stress, some worry in terms of displacement for many people here. But then the other aspect of that is the emotional side of it and the financial side of it. So there's two aspects, right? There's a financial side of losing your job, and then there's the emotional side of losing your job. It's really the loss of your income right now, the loss of a sense of belonging, because this is really what happens to you when you lose your job, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Again, it's something that I know, again, talking to people out there, it is something of a worry. Even if you haven't lost your job, right, already, there is that prospect. So even that prospect of being in a situation where there's a bit of uncertainty in terms of your career can put you in a position where you might be anxious. And coming back to Marina, is there a relationship between sleep and anxiety?
Yes, what's fascinating is that sleep and anxiety are so closely interrelated, but also incompatible at the same time, because lack of sleep can cause anxiety. And if you already have anxiety, you won't be able to fall asleep. One and only reason anxiety puts your brain into survival mode. It spikes your levels of cortisol, and that keeps you awake. So basically, when you're in survival mode, you're not supposed to fall asleep. That triggers that fight or flight response, right? When we're supposed to be up on our feet and running, except for over time we adapted it to lying in our bed and thinking how to solve our problems, because that's what the negative emotions are for. They are there to take us to a safer place, but that is the kind of works in a counterproductive way with anxiety, because it messes up our hormone production. We get hormonal disbalance, and it eventually also messes up our glucose production, and we start having other kinds of the problems, including weight problems, or even like some chronic diseases. But what's interesting is that anxiety results in elevated levels of cortisol in our blood, and cortisol is the hormone which our brain produces to get us out of the sleep state. So cortisol is meant to wake us up. When we're anxious, we're in the state of waking up. That's why those two cannot go together. Also, you need to understand anxiety from a scientific point of view, how exactly it affects your body, because anxiety, it physically shuts off a part of your brain, which is called prefrontal cortex, and which is responsible for decision making, for problem solving. So basically, when you are in this alert state and you cannot fall asleep, or eventually you will fall asleep, right? Even if you're in the state of anxiety, because you will be drained sooner or later, you will fall asleep, but the quality of your sleep is going to be affected. So it's going to be very poor quality. And if you happen to wake up in the middle of the night, your brain is keeping you alert still. So once you wake up, you're very unlikely to think about something very calm and positive, right? You're going to be back to problems, and the brain is going to convince you that now is the right time to work on the solutions. So you're going to have trouble falling back to sleep.
Right. Okay. So that's really good. So what we've covered is all the kind of the issues related with anxiety. But again, I'm going to try and maybe twist it the other way around. Can we use sleep? Again, I don't know the answer to this question. You might be able to answer this, Marina. Can you use sleep to actually help you overcome anxiety rather than actually amplify it? I don't know. Is it possible?
You're looking for a magic pill, huh? I'm just gonna sleep myself out of anxiety. No, I don't think it's possible, but what you can do, you can try and bring down the problems in these two issues, both anxiety and sleep and sleeplessness because of anxiety. What you can do is you can work on some sleeping practices that are going to help you to calm down your brain, to calm down yourself before you fall asleep, so that you facilitated this process and so that your quality of sleep improved with time. One of those is like meditation, probably is the best for those people who are open to it. Prayer works as well, and working on your sleeping routine is also can also contribute very well, because you can improve your home environment to make it more to make it easier to put you to sleep. You can use essential oils, you can take a hot bath or shower, it can be anything that you like. Create a routine that will be setting your body into this sleeping state. Make this small shift in understanding that anxiety, just like any negative emotion, is a sign that you're focusing in the wrong direction. So once you understand this, anxiety and fear and all the awareness and emotions that Donna was talking about, it's there to show us we're thinking in the wrong way. And that's why we need to perceive it as something that our body gives us to understand that we're not reacting to a particular situation in the way we're supposed to. And that's, I think, what we should use to push away from, and that's actually where the cure lies. Because if we don't understand why we're anxious, if we don't understand, we all understand, we say, oh yes, of course, I lost a job, I lost home or whatever. Yes, but that is not what's causing you anxiety. It's your beliefs behind that cause your anxiety. And that is also a topic of a different discussion.
Right, okay, that's fine. We can cover that later. Thank you so much for your insight, Marina. I'm going to bring in, again, Donna. Now, again, we're now kind of trying to shift to finding possible solutions, right? So we've covered the issues, but now let's try and be positive and shift people from the negative side of things to the more positive outlook on things. Now, Donna, again, with your coaching, Marina covered about sleep, but in terms of career, if someone, for example, is in a situation where they are anxious, they're facing a lot of worry, what are the kind of tips that you can, from your experience, that someone can practice to put their mindset in a more positive outlook?
Thanks, Kamil. No, I really liked what Marina said in terms of, there's a lot of beliefs that we have around so many things. And whenever you're feeling anxious, any type of anxiety, any type of worry is because you're going against yourself, right? So one of the things that you've got to do immediately, if you can, and it takes practice, and everything is a question of practice, right? Is sit yourself down and start living in the present moment. Because in the present moment, if you just sit back right now and you take a look and you breathe and you feel what is happening, nothing is happening. And so try to be in that state as much as you can. Be present, focus on where you're at with a lot of gratitude. But certainly, there are two things you said here. So somebody is anxious because they're afraid of the future. This is really when you step back into the moment. right? Because if you haven't, if it's just anxious for anxiousness, because you're a worrywart, you worry about this and you worry about that, it doesn't serve you. And so look at ways it's going to serve you. You think about tomorrow doesn't serve you. Focus on the now. But you do have other individuals that are going through emotional turmoil that you can understand why they're stressed. Loss of a job, loss of a family member, all of these things are going on. What I would suggest is give yourself the time to grieve. There's a grieving process that goes with that. When there's a loss of something, grieve it. Take the time. Reach out to your friends, family, and your this that's going on with you. Especially family. The family plays a very key role. And sitting down with family and explaining what is going on. Get the love, get the support that you need right there. There's a level of comfort that goes with it. Yeah? And another one for me is to find ways to define yourself. We often, when it's the loss of a job, we identify so much with what we do as our profession. Whether you like it or not, there's like a disconnect. You feel a disconnect from it. So within this time, find out really what your passion is. Maybe you were working as an accountant, but it wasn't your passion. Maybe your passion is to be a writer. Here is a good time for you to sit back and say to yourself, okay, you know what, I love this. Let me research this. Let me give it a try. And then you're going to see a whole new world that's opening up for you. New people are you're networking with, right? Another big one is to stay positive. Just stay positive it means, for many people is and Marina talked about this, is to move, is to exercise. There is something that happens to us in our minds, in our body, when we're in movement. And there is something great that happens that you start feeling good. Take advantage of that. Get out there. Whether it's spending time with the family or it's just for you alone to go for a long walk or a jog, whatever it is. A bike ride. I see a cyclist right now who's cycling. Whatever it is. In that motion, something happens and you feel good. So, it's anxiety or anxiousness is caused at some level from, of course, the unknown. You don't know what's happening, and you're anticipating the worst. What if you were to turn that around and anticipate the best? Right? Say to yourself, okay, I'm without X, Y, and Z right now, but I know me, and I can do this, and I can do that, and so you just flip it. What can you do? How can you empower yourself?
These are the things that maybe, like Donna's saying, is useful for you to be able to kind of digest and kind of go through as a list. And again, what Marina's saying in terms of how we can use sleep to maybe kind of reduce or take down the level of anxiety that we have. So how sleep and kind of anxiety management from a career point of view can come together. I think that's really useful. That's amazing. Thank you so much to Marina and Donna. Thank you so much if you're watching this. Amazing insight from both Marina and Donna. That's all the time that we have. Thank you. And again, hopefully we will see you guys soon in another edition. Peace and love to you always. God bless and take care. Bye-bye.